Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 137, Life After Teaching with Martha Paben. Hey everyone, how are you doing? I'm back and this is our second show of the year and 2023 is off to a strong start. I just did a LinkedIn Live the other day, still like coming off the high of that. I love doing live broadcasts. They're so much fun and I got a lot of good engagement on that one. So if you are not following me yet on LinkedIn, please do. That's really where I am at for the most part. I'm kind of all in on that one platform, but you can find it on YouTube as well, the rebroadcast, whichever you prefer. But please do follow me on LinkedIn, my posts, and I have a LinkedIn newsletter. I've just got a lot of good stuff going, a lot of, I think, good content that I'm putting out there for everybody. So today is so exciting. And I always love my shows, of course, but I'm really, really excited when I get to have my special guests. And today's guest, Martha, is so special to me for a couple of reasons. She's actually, not only has she been a client, but she has been on my show before. So for those of you who have been listening for a long time, you might remember episode 12. But if you are new to the show, go ahead. It can be after you hear today's show. Go back and listen to the first episode that I did with Martha. And I think it was about 4 years ago. It was one of the first ones, episode 12, and we're at 137 now. So, wow, things have evolved and changed. But Martha went through my career transformation program. I think I first connected back in 2017. I think we worked together a couple times. But to her own credit, she landed an amazing job after teaching in the public school system for a number of years. And she is not alone in that transition. Since working with her, I have continued to enroll many teachers, many more than I expected when I started my business almost 8 years ago. Of course, the pandemic only threw gasoline on that fire for a lot of reasons, but there's a lot of teachers out there who are rethinking things that, hey, maybe there's something else I can do in my career. Maybe my skills could be used somewhere else. Maybe this used to serve me and I'd like to do something different, and that's okay. But it's not an easy transition to make. So, and what a transition Martha made. Man, she relocated her family from Illinois to Florida and now to Texas, I think. So she's definitely going places, and I'm going to let her share her story in her own words, which is the best way for you to hear it. But I'm really excited to have her back. So today's show is going to be inspirational and informational for anyone, really anyone who wants to make a major career transformation. But specifically, if you or anyone you know is an educator and thinks, oh my gosh, how do I even begin to make this transition into the corporate world? Can I do it? How do I do it? This is the show for you. And I'm telling you, Martha's the gal. She's the one to guide you through that, definitely. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on right now. Welcome to the show, Martha. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. I'm really excited to talk to you again.
Good. Oh, I always love talking to you. And your story has really, you should know, been very instrumental. You know, your testimonial, I've referred people to it because, like I said, I have continued to enroll and get interest from more teachers who want to do what you've done. And I think that the best way to do that is hear it right from someone who's done it, which is you. So you have a great story. But Can you just give us first a little bit of background on this transformation that you made? Tell us just a little bit about what you were doing, your teaching career, what made you want to make a change, and where are you today?
Okay. So I was a public school teacher in Illinois for 17 years. And this is so pre-pandemic. And I had kind of gotten to the point where, number one, I lost my spark. I lost my love for teaching. It was so not only time consuming, but just emotionally draining. And I felt like I was really kind of losing myself. My kids were pretty young at that time. Let's see, so that was 5 years ago. So my son was 10 and my daughter was 4. And I really just, it wasn't the same as when I had started out 17 years before that. And the weight load, the job load, the emotional strain was more than I could handle at that point in time. And I felt like there had to be something different out there. So I started working on changing careers, and you and I worked together, and I was able to land a job in corporate America, but with a major sports organization. I don't know if I can say the name of the organization.
No, you can. I think that's totally up to you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So no, I found a job with the PGA, the Professional Golfers Association, and I work in their education department. And 5 years later, I still love my job. In fact, what's really kind of cool about the job that I have, I design online learning and for them and manage their learning management system. But I also do a lot of things in my job description that weren't initially in my job description. So they've really, over the past 5 years, personalized my role for the skills that I've been able to bring to this job. And like you mentioned, we originally moved to Florida, and we were only there for 2.5 years. And then we found out that they were moving us again to Texas. So we accepted that move, came out, did some scouting trips, ended up buying 6 acres of land just north of Frisco, Texas. And it took us 2 years, but we built a house during a pandemic, which was very, very interesting. But yeah, so now we're here in Texas, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still loving my job, and I still love what I do. And getting out of teaching was definitely the right move for me. I'm back to having my spark and loving and appreciating what I'm doing.
That is so amazing to hear. I'm so glad that it's been a happy ending for you, and one that was a meaningful move that has lasted, and you've continued to, sounds like, grow in your role. And that's a sign of a great company if you said they've helped personalize the role and let it evolve based on you and your skills. That's a rare thing. Sometimes that doesn't happen all the time. That's great.
Well, great. And I do think the pandemic has definitely influenced a lot of companies. I know, like, for example, in my own company, after the pandemic, we've moved to a 50-50 job model where I only have to spend 50% of the time in the office, and then the other 50% of the time I can work remotely from home. That flexibility that the pandemic allowed us kind of became something that developed and grew, and now it's our business model. And so it's a great time right now, I think, for teachers to be thinking about and making some moves into the job market, into the corporate market.
Yeah. Well, and can you share with us a little bit more about what you're doing? And the reason I ask that is because a lot of teachers are asking the question, what can I do in the corporate world? What job titles are available to me? What will my skills transfer to? And I think you found a role that enabled you to call upon a lot of your education and training and facilitation experience. But can you share with us a little bit more about what your job function is?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my job title is education faculty, but really, like I said, it's way more than that. So I manage their learning management system, which is their online learning. But beyond doing that, I also write help write curriculum. So they bring in subject matter experts that know about golf, but don't necessarily know how to put the words on paper or put them into electronic format. And so I work with those subject matter experts to take what they know and make it digestible for all these different generations of learners that we have now. I do handle some kind of IT stuff, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But like I learned a lot of their systems and back end systems and things like that. I've had opportunities to work with like different platforms like Workday and AWS and some of those electronic platforms. And they've allowed me to gain the training on those so that I can then go and teach others within the company how to use them. So I'm thinking here, curriculum work. I do a lot of curriculum work. I do a lot of corporate training too. You know, if somebody needs to be taught something, I learn it and then I teach it in a way that
Mm-hmm.
others can understand. I do a lot of that as well. And our latest project has been we have, within our education programs, we have course manuals while everything's becoming more electronic in nature. And so I've been working with my team to take those course manuals and make electronic versions of them that are interactive. And it's been really cool. It's been a really fun project.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Thank you. And so, for you, what was the most challenging part of making this transition from being a public school teacher to the corporate world? Because they're two different worlds, I think. They must be. I know there's a lot of different things about them, but what was challenging for you and how did you overcome it when you were kind of back in that job search, career change process?
I think that when you said that teachers just don't know what they can do out in the corporate world, I think part of the struggle was figuring out where I could fit. And quite honestly, the role that I have now, I don't think I would have ever gone after this role if I didn't apply for the job and not have everything that was listed in that job description. So when I was looking for what to apply to, I was trying to look at it through, I would look at the job description and I would look at it through the lens of, oh, this isn't a teaching job. And so I kind of had to back up a little bit and really assess what skills did I have. I had skills beyond just standing in front of a room of sixth graders and teaching them English like I did for 17 years. I had computer skills. I had skills working with Google programs. I had skills working with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel programs. I had skills with, yes, of course, teaching others, but I had skills with teaching adults. I had skills for curriculum and bringing together pieces of information and creating courses out of that. So if I could offer any advice to somebody, especially teachers, is think beyond your classroom and that little tiny scope of education into what skills do you have that really make you marketable? Because believe it or not, teachers are very, very marketable because you have a bunch of different skills that you don't even realize will be useful out there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, you always have to have a clear target for anybody really in a job search to be successful. And sometimes that is the biggest challenge is figuring out what am I even shooting for? And once we have that, then we can figure out a plan for how do I get there? It's where am I going and how do I get there? We have to solve both of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I love that you kind of stopped and said, wait, let me think big picture. Let me come out of my way of thinking as a teacher and really just expand into just the core. You kind of boiled it down to just the core skill set, right? Not thinking of yourself as I'm just a teacher.
Correct.
And that's my identity. It's no, I have this whole repertoire of skills and I'm just going to go apply it in another setting, which is what transferable
Correct.
skills are. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. So perfect. So what do you think then made you successful in doing this? Because I know there's teachers out there that are struggling. They're not getting the results in their job search, or they're just maybe having a hard time staying motivated while they search. What was it that enabled you think, to really pull off this career change?
Well, I think it was really boiled down to two things. The first thing I think was being prepared. And what I mean by that is I did a heck of a lot of research. I mean, we're talking researching companies, researching job ads, researching, beyond just, perusing LinkedIn and, I'm going to apply for this and I'm going to apply. I really stopped and made a plan so that I was prepared. I mean, I remember I had like this big old spreadsheet where I would go as in depth as researching the company and looking at their values and looking at what they did. And so I think being prepared really made a huge difference because, like I said, I was able to just go beyond thinking about just that narrow focus of, this isn't an education organization. I mean, I never would in a million of years have thought that I would be working for the Professional Golfers Association. I never would have, I didn't play golf and I still am not very good at it, but the skills that I had have made me very successful in this role. So like I said, being prepared and doing your research, I think it has a lot to do with it. And then the second thing I really think is knowing when I hit my limit, and I hired and outsourced things to people who made me look really smart. So, you and I worked together and you made my resume like amazing and helped me with my LinkedIn profile and helped me because you had more experience in the corporate part of things. And so not being afraid, I know you want to do everything yourself, but sometimes outsourcing something or hiring somebody who has more experience is going to pay off in the end, and investing in that.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. And it helped that you were a wonderful client to work with, and highly coachable, right? Because you have to be willing to do the work. We can guide, we can inform, we can help motivate, but then that's 50% of it. But the other 50%, as you said, is you put in the work. You did the research. And if I remember correctly, you did a lot of networking. I feel like you did a lot of informational calls and reached out to people you knew, maybe even people you didn't know. I feel like I remember, that being a big part. And that it's scary sometimes to do that. And it takes a lot of work.
It is.
But it paid off for you.
It did.
Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
I mean,
how did that play a role? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Now that you say that, I do remember doing that. So I did a lot of it through LinkedIn as I explored, these different companies and looked at different jobs that were posted. I would look at, who posted them and maybe follow that person, or somebody who was doing a job that I thought, oh, hey, I could do this. I might reach out and politely introduce myself and ask them if I could ask them a couple of questions about their role. And so I kind of just put on my big girl pants and wasn't afraid to reach out to them. And but not reaching out in a way where I expected them to do anything for me. That I think was key. It was more information gathering,
Mm-hmm.
and growing a network of people who could help to answer questions that I had, and also help me learn about different companies as well. Because as you start to research, you may find like, oh, that company sounds way too big. I don't want to work for a company like that. Or, oh, that doesn't sound like it's the right fit for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
did. And even now in my job now, I continue to network. And I just attended a women's event about a month ago with some other women from my company. And networking is, you're going to continue to do it. And it's so important because you never know who out there is going to have the next idea that's going to spark something in you or help you in some way.
I love everything you just said. And I completely agree. And the more I hear you say these things, the more it just reminds me, honestly, why you were so successful, because you have the right mindset. You were willing to get uncomfortable. You were willing to reach out. I love what you just said about networking, and you're 100% correct that it never stops. It's, sometimes people do stop as soon as they're in a role. Okay, great. I found a job, everything's fine. But you are so much more proactive than that, and a big picture thinker that you're continuing to learn, you're continuing to grow, you're continuing to expand your boundaries and expand your network. And that's one of many reasons why you were so successful at this. That's from my coach perspective. So I love everything you
Thank
said.
you.
I hope everyone's taking notes right now. I really do, because Martha is the real deal. Really. You are
Thank you.
really, really a fantastic client, person, teacher, everything. And you embody so many characteristics of what it takes to be successful. And for me, the mindset is the biggest piece, right? If we could have a great resume,
Yes.
but if we have a poor attitude or strategy, it just doesn't matter. You won't get anywhere.
Yes.
So I love that you have both.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I tell my kids all the time, you can't just expect things to drop into your lap. You can't try something for one time and expect to be brilliant at it. So yes. I think that searching for a job is kind of that way too. It's not going to just fall in your lap. It really isn't. And you need to go out there and make it come to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we wrap up in a few minutes, I want to hear a little bit more about this side project. You told me you have something kind of a little bit entrepreneurial, maybe. I want to hear more about it. And I want the audience to hear more about it, especially because I think and anticipate there's going to be a lot of teachers listening to this. So tell me more about this new venture that you have. Yeah.
So over the past 5 years, I have had quite a few other teachers but really more just moms in general. Seems like it's been a lot of moms that have reached out to me asking me, how did you do what you did? It just seems so impossible for me. I could never do that. And I would say I probably have had between 10 and a dozen people reach out to me, which seems like quite a few. And so I've been thinking about a way to kind of give back and help other moms and other teachers who want to change their career. And so I'm calling it career transition coaching for moms, but I don't really have like a big fancy name for it, but it's just kind of offering up my services to help other moms, to help other teachers to change careers and not make the same mistakes that I did. So the first thing that I've kind of done is I've developed this job, what I'm calling a job hunting checklist. And it's free. You can actually find it. It's on my Instagram right now. There's a link on my Instagram, and it's just something to kind of show people like hey, you can and use this to get started. And then if they want to go beyond that checklist, I am going to be offering 60 to 90 minute kind of one-on-one intensives with me, just to help them to target one of the areas, maybe from that checklist, or maybe another area that they want to work on. I'm not going to claim to be an expert like resume writer, or I still think those types of things need to be outsourced to the experts like you guys, like you and your company. But I think sometimes other moms and teachers too, they need somebody kind of in their back pocket who is like their cheerleader and their coach, kind of to help them navigate through all this. And that's kind of what I'm envisioning this to be.
I love that. And I can already see a whole nother career path for you if you want to change careers one day. And I can see you doing what I do. Absolutely. I mean, coaching is so similar to teaching. I feel like I teach in a way. I mean, it's a similar skill set.
Oh, of course you do.
I think teachers make excellent coaches. It goes both ways. So I think you've got a whole nother career path in front of you, Martha, that maybe that's your retirement job. You're going to have your own empire, maybe. It could happen. But so where should people go? Is your Instagram the best place, or, website? Where would people go if they're kind of interested? Should they email you? How should somebody get in touch with you if they want to learn more about what you're doing?
So right now I am just on my Instagram because this is a fairly new project that I'm starting, and that checklist is on my Instagram, and it's just, my Martha _Paben _. I mean, it's really simple handle to find on Instagram, and you can message me there on the freebie on the checklist. There's my email is on there. So I would say those would be the best ways to get a hold of me if they want to talk about how we can work together.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I know if I ever change careers, maybe I'll come to you. No, really. I said coaches have coaches. I'm serious, right? Who knows? I think I'll be doing this
all the time.
Oh, yes. I think I'll be doing this the rest of my life, but just in case I'm not. No, wonderful. Thank you so much for everything, for coming back on the show for a part 2, which is so cool. But thank you just for being in my network and in my atmosphere, and being willing to share your story, which is so inspirational. And I just appreciate it so much. And I really want to stay connected with you, of course, and just see your success. And I think there's only going to be more and more good things in store for you. And so thanks for coming back on the show to share your story.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Awesome. Maybe there'll be a third installment one day. We'll see. Absolutely. You're always welcome back on my show. Oh, standing invitation. So awesome. Well, so for more shows like this, you guys go to careeruprising.com/podcast. The entire archive is there. Please find her original episode, which is episode 12. You're going to have to dig back into the archives a little bit, but it is definitely in there on my website and on Apple. It's a good one. And I appreciate you guys, all of my listeners. So definitely reach out to Martha if you are interested, and share this episode with somebody that you know. If you're not an educator, but you know one, please share this episode. But I think this is also just good advice for anyone making a career transition. Everything that you said is applicable to any line of work, really, and anyone who wants to make a career change. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Check out my website, careeruprising.com, and I will be back in February with more new shows. Take care, guys. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by inflowradio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.